Rockstar's parent company CEO, Strauss Zelnick of Take-Two Interactive, has directly addressed Red Dead Online fans and players in a recent interview before their Q4 2022 investors conference that took place today, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Save Red Dead Online movement was discussed, and the good news here is that Red Dead Online is not going away. We have all the news in this video. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by, and as we jump in, if you enjoy this video at any point, or if you just find it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you want to stay up to date and in the loop with everything Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online, consider hitting that subscribe button with your bell notifications turned on. So jumping in, we have a new interview from IGN's Rebecca Valentine. This article will be linked down in the description below for you guys to check out, but we're going to go through it in this video. And it's in regards to Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick discussing Red Dead Online and some other plans they have for it in the future. So you're definitely going to want to listen to this. Starting off, for months now, the Red Dead Online community has been begging developer Rockstar for more significant updates to the game, on par with what Grand Theft Auto Online has been getting using the hashtag #SaveRedDeadOnline. Thus far, they've received little in the way of acknowledgement for their movement until today. Speaking to IGN ahead of Take-Two's quarterly earnings call, Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick affirmed that he was aware of the community's frustration, but added that fans would need to look to Rockstar for a response. Now, before we get into this, of course, that's exactly what he is going to say. It was almost predictable that he would say, look to Rockstar for a response, but the fact that they're even taking a question about this and acknowledging it at all is pretty significant in my opinion, because they've ignored it up to this point. Why would they be addressing it now unless something was on the horizon? Whether it's just more smaller support for Red Dead Online in the way of bug fixes or potentially new content, as we have had times where Take-Two has their quarterly investors conference and earnings conference, and then all of a sudden Red Dead Online gets surprise content, as in the case of the spring update from May 14th, 2019, just days before Take-Two had their quarterly earnings call. Like, it must have been for Q4 2019 at the time, so 3 years ago, but they said that Red Dead Online would have something come summertime and Rockstar would have more news then, and then just days later, that spring update which brought the game out of beta released. So that's pretty fantastic. But going back to the article, Rockstar Games talks about the updates that are coming, and we're working on an awful lot at Rockstar Games, he said. I've heard the frustration, it's flattering that they want more content, and more will be said by Rockstar in due time. And when asked if Take-Two intended to continue to support Red Dead Online long term, Zelnick affirmed that this was the plan. So again, more good news here. Of course, you can chalk it up to some PR talk, because essentially fans are begging Rockstar for more content, and CEO of Take-Two Interactive, which owns Rockstar Games, is saying, I've heard your frustration, I've heard your concerns. Check to Rockstar, as they're going to have more news in due time. If they don't have anything at all, if this game isn't going anywhere, support has basically stalled and stopped, and this game isn't going to be developed any further, why would Rockstar need to say anything else? They wouldn't. That would be opening up to the CEO to fraud claims and lawsuits and all that. So of course, he wouldn't just go out and completely say something opposite to what Rockstar's games plans are. If Take-Two had no plans to continue with Rockstar Games and Red Dead Online here, then they wouldn't be saying this at all. They would just be continuing to stay silent as they normally do. But the fact that they're saying anything at all, I think is good news, because there has to be something to follow. But moving back to the article, #SaveRedDeadOnline has continued across social channels like Twitter and Reddit since January of this year, when Rockstar published an announcement of new content for Red Dead Online that the community felt was largely insufficient compared to much larger updates being pushed in Grand Theft Auto Online. Since then, there have been a handful of other similarly small updates, but nothing large enough to quell the frustrated fans who feel that Rockstar has abandoned their beloved game to focus on a much older one that has already received years of major updates and attention. And I'm not really sure what Rebecca means here by new content. I mean, we had some new game modes and things, so you can consider that just a little bit of new content, but we haven't had a real new content update and a DLC since the Blood Money DLC in July 13th of 2021. We did have some new quick draw clubs, we had Halloween call to arms, and we had Christmas call to arms. So unless she was directly talking about that, I'm not sure what new content came out between July of last year and then January of this year besides those few things. But either way, what she's saying is pretty accurate here in terms of the frustration by players. Save Red Dead Online movement, we were covering that a lot back in January when it was new, and so far it's pretty much died down to this point, but it will probably be making a resurgence, and the fact that Take-Two brought it up here in this interview is pretty awesome to see. Now, one of the last things she mentions here, as of the latest earnings call, Red Dead Redemption 2 has sold 44 million units worldwide, which Take-Two said in its report is noticeably above our expectations for the period, which is further proof of the ongoing popularity of Rockstar's blockbuster entertainment experiences. Now, speaking of the 44 million units sold, we had 43 million units sold in the last quarter, so we are up 1 million units, or Take-Two is up 1 million units from last quarter in terms of units sold for Red Dead Redemption 2 and Red Dead Online. So that's also good news. It is slowing down. They had a big resurgence of, I think it was 4 million units sold, from 39 million units to 43 million units from the, I guess it would be quarter 2 to quarter 3. So that was a huge jump. It's now back to the normalized about 1 million units each financial quarter for Take-Two Interactive. And that's something that Strauss also said in the earnings call, that they're back to normal levels of sales, things like that. But I do want to stress that while we don't have any specific details of what's going on, overall, it's just really great to see some response from the top down here at Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar, and it's significant for a few reasons. While, of course, Strauss Zelnick wouldn't give any specific game and update details for Red Dead Online or GTA Online or any of their games, right? As he always says, it's up to the developers themselves to deliver news to fans and customers. The fact that he even addressed customer and player frustrations here and said to look for Rockstar for more info, as they will have some in due time, should go to show that it's not over yet and there is more to be done. The head of a massive company like Take-Two Interactive would not subject himself to what could be construed as blatantly false statements if Rockstar, one of their subsidiaries, really had zero plans at all to continue supporting Red Dead Online. If that was the case, he would say that that is the case and we should expect absolutely nothing. But the fact that he said that Rockstar will have some more news in due time, whether it's small news, whether it's bad news, good news, that is something to consider here. And again, we don't know the specifics. We won't know until Rockstar Games says something, but for one, now would be a good time for some newswire for them to just address the community at all and talk about maybe the fact that something is coming and they will have news soon. That's really all players are looking for at this point. And then two, it is very possible that these statements do mean more than simple patches and bug fix updates, as Strauss's response to the question of if Red Dead Online had plans to be supported long term was a yes. Why would we constantly need new patches and bug fix updates for the game if there was no new content and new glitches coming to the game in the form of new updates? There's not many things that are going to be left to patch if the game is staying in the same state for the rest of eternity and Rockstar wasn't developing anything else. So I will close with that. I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments section below. Do you think that this is good news? Do you think that this is just classic Take-Two Interactive and Rockstar here? Of course, I'm pretty PO'd that Rockstar still hasn't said anything here. Maybe they will soon. It's too early to tell. I'm just uploading this right after the investors conference because I said on the channel last week that we would be talking about it. And this, I think, is the biggest piece of news from this. It wasn't directly addressed in the earnings conference. No investors had any questions on this type of thing, but this was an article from IGN that went live right before this investors conference actually happened at 4:30. So with that being said, we're going to be wrapping things up right here. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video today, and if you did, hopefully I earned your like on it. And of course, if you are new to my channel and you want to stay up to date with all the best Red Dead Online and Rockstar Games content, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on a single thing we upload here on the channel. We consistently talk about updates, news, information, tips, tricks, and even leaks, and we'll keep you guys updated here on the channel daily. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected with me outside of YouTube, and you're more than welcome to ask me any questions on those platforms. You can follow me at HazardousHDTV, and all of my social media links can be found in the description down below. That being said, thank you all so much for watching, everyone. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next Red Dead Online video. Adios, amigos.